And welcome back, pregame.tv. Ken Thomson, his sidekick, Dave Cokin, and some guy that must have busted in here, Coach, before we got here.
Nobody wants to do videos with me anymore. I got to go to the third group over here.
Oh, my God, Bryan, Leonard, where the hell have you been, my man?
God, nobody wants to work with me. What the hell?
Welcome to the C team.
The C team, yeah.
This is the Wednesday crew. What happened to the Tuesday crew? No love?
They blew me off. Nobody wanted to work.
All right, we'll see how you do this.
All right.
We'll see how
Is this an audition?
Yeah, this is an audition.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, no doubt about it. All right, we're going to talk a little college football, though. First, we got a huge marquee game that Dave Cokin is going to be looking at. Army. Don't mess with the Black Knights. They're going to go to Western Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and take on the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. And pretty good quarterback that wings it around the whole lot, but a team that doesn't play much defense.
No, I think they've got 9 guys playing. The other 2 are just kind of out there. No, look, there's a lot of really good games this weekend, and this isn't one of them in terms of marquee appeal. But the money spends the same.
So all we care about.
And I think, when I get into the analysis of this game, it's a pretty good spot to take a bunch of points with what I think might be a live dog here.
There you go. Anyway, it's good to have you back, and you're going to be looking at an NFL teaser.
We'll be doing a teaser later.
I remember you guys giving me the educated Vegas play a couple years ago. Thomson, don't tease college football. Now, in the NFL, it's relevant, but not in college football.
No, not in college football. And our Tuesday meeting every week, Alf Mosqueda, I teased it. He goes, it wins for me. And I go, look at the stats. You can't win. The variance is too high. But getting back to this game here, Army's one of those teams. Did you realize they were 1-18 against the spread when they play on the road? This is a team that cannot win on the road. I remember what they played, Buffalo earlier this year, and they were a road favorite. I couldn't believe that.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not a trend guy.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they've been struggling on the road. But one thing I like about this game, and you kind of touched a little bit on what you like, I like the over in this game. In Western Kentucky hasn't stopped anybody all year. They're depleted when it comes to that. They played so well earlier in the season, playing the big boys. Right. Now they're worn out. And now they're playing an Army team who I think can have some success offensively against them here. But, yeah, I want no part of laying double digits with that Western Kentucky defense.
Contrast to styles, to say the least. Western Kentucky throw. Army would just run. So, like you said, could be a lot of points. Neither team may be able to stop each other. Army had a lot of trouble second half against Air Force, and the Falcons wrapped up the Commander-in-Chief's trophy already.
Air Force is legit this year. They're a pretty good team. Calhoun's done a nice job. It was one of those years where last year everything went wrong for them, and it just kind of ballooned. They lost confidence. They were not strong physically. And in fact, this is interesting. We were talking about them today. I taped the Bobby Houck show on Wednesdays.
Right.
And just happened to be talking about Air Force because that's who the Rebels played last week. And they've really got in the weight room and got stronger from last year as opposed to this year. And that's a big part of the reason that Air Force is now the reigning champion in the Commander-in-Chief deal. They beat Navy and they beat Army, and great year for the Falcons. They'll be going bowling.
No doubt. And Cal Pearson mixes it up. Does
nice quarterback.
Run.
Yep.
Yeah, he'll throw the ball as well. But Dave Cokin, this is your free play. Let's go ahead and make it official. The line in the game, Western Kentucky -10 against Army. Dave, you've got the floor.
Well, Bryan just mentioned how bad Army has been on the road against the spread. I am not a trend guy. I really don't care about that stuff to any great degree. I like to do matchups and then factor in the situation in my numbers and see what I can come up with. The numbers here, not really relevant to me because the situation overrode that. Go back to last week's Western Kentucky game against UTEP. They're going to lose this football game. They're down 1 score in the fourth quarter. UTEP is just chewing them up on the ground. They're just carving them up through the middle, killing them with the ground game. And they're down really deep in the red zone, and UTEP decided to get fancy and did something they don't do very well. They threw the football. Coach out-coached himself right in that spot. Shower makes a bad pass. Wonderful Terry, that's his name. Wonderful Terry. He picks it off and goes 90 yards for a Hilltopper score. That's not the first time he's done this, by the way. Wonderful Terry has run the length of the field on some past occasions, so might be a guy you want to stay away from when you face Western Kentucky. Anyway, that changed the whole game. UTEP got rattled, ended up losing by 8 points. Depending when you bet the game, it could be a really bad beat on the UTEP side. The thing about it was a really lucky win for a Western Kentucky team that hasn't been very good since the early portion of the season and has really not been good, particularly in later stages of the game. Now, they've blown some leads in the fourth quarter. It was, I guess, nice for them to actually win one in the fourth quarter last week. You got UConn coming in here with a nice win under their belts. It's not like Connecticut's a top 40 team or anything, but that's still a good win for Army at home. a little bit of confidence. Both teams have a chance to get to 6 wins. Army needs to win out, which is probably not going to happen. They've got Fordham next week, or they should handle. They're probably not going to beat Navy, and they're probably actually not going to beat this team. Western Kentucky needs to win this game, and next week against, I think it's Texas San Antonio, they're not going to beat Marshall in the last week, but they can win these 2 and get to 6. So it's not really a dead spot for Western Kentucky, but I think they're being overvalued off the win last week. Revenge spot for Army as well. They played last year. Army leads the game 10-0, and then just didn't play really good defense after that. They went back and forth, teams driving on each other the whole game. And Western Kentucky basically had the ball last and drove the length of the field for a win with about 35 seconds to play. So it's a good revenge spot for Army. They're getting a bunch of points from a team that's playing out of conference, off a nice come-from-behind win. I think you look at Army here, and by the way, last thing, because I don't want this to go on forever, Western Kentucky, a favorite that gives up more than 200 yards a game on the ground. Army loves to run the ball. That's the one thing they do well. Army plus 10 to me, pretty live spot here, and I did play this game already.
Yeah, and you also talked about Western Kentucky. I remember Old Dominion, same thing, through that pick 6.
Yep.
Western Kentucky ended up covering.
Yeah, they've had some lucky breaks this year.
Wasn't there a Wonderful Mounds played in the Expos upper?
I believe so.
Yeah, if I had a kid named Wonderful Mounds, I would think that sounded like a female porno star.
There you go.
Actually,
See what you missed by not having me here? Does that sound? It's another.
There's a reason the Tuesday crew got rid of this guy.
I like that. I actually like that.
I know you did. That's good stuff. All right, so there you have it from Dave. Take Army plus the 10, double digits in Bowling Green, Kentucky against Western Kentucky's Hilltoppers. We'll come back. We'll have another look at a college game. Arkansas off a bye. They're at home in Fayetteville taking on an LSU Tiger team. Still wondering what happened against Bama down the stretch inside the final minute. We'll talk about that. And then Bryan Leonard will have a nice NFL teaser. We'll talk a little Detroit Lions, a little Seattle Seahawks, and we'll do that when we come back. Pregame.tv.
Just saying.